Alright, welcome back. Like I said in the last video, we're going to start off here working on Spra-Coupe 3440. We got it out of the barn. It's all unfolded. We did run into a couple issues in putting lines on for this boom swing on this side. I crossed the line so the switches operate the wrong way. But that's a simple fix. Just take the hoses off the valve block, put them on the opposite side, and it'll be good there. And then this boom cylinder lift on this side, for some reason, will not lift the boom as high as what the opposite side will. So this boom cylinder lift right here is going to have to be split back apart. But that's not what we're going to work on today. Our goal for the day today is to get all the boom sections working. Currently, as of right now, the only boom section that works is the center section. Even with that, it works all the time. Even when you turn the switch off for the center boom set, it still blows product. Or right now, we've got the tank full of water, so we could test to make sure everything's going to function right. It still puts water out even when I have the center section turned off. So this sprayer has 3-section boom control. It has the centers and the 2 wings. Now some of the later models actually had 5-section boom control where the tip of the booms were controlled independently from the main frame of the boom center. Same thing on the other side. This one does not have that. This is 3-section. Honestly, for what we're going to spray, I really don't care if the section controls work. It would be nice, but I mean, the center section controls 5 foot, 6 foot. The wing control sets, it would be nice when we're finishing up fields, but the main thing we're going to spray is hay fields and corn. So we're going to be spraying either door corn from Corteva or 2,4-D on hay fields, depending on if the hay's leaving the farms or staying on the farms, what that status there is. And then on corn, we're going to be spraying Roundup, and we spray Halix and Atrazine for morning glory control and grass control. We're going to spray a couple passes of burn down. So it's not like we're really spraying anything that we need to be exact precise on, nor am I running auto track or any of that stuff to actually make it more useful. But I would at least like to get it to where we can control the boom set. So the other night before I quit working on this, I went ahead and pulled the cover off the back side and did a little redneck troubleshooting. I took the bug for the center section boom control and I jumped it over to the side booms to try to see if I could make them come on or off. They're already off, but make them actually open the solenoid so that we could get product to flow through the boom section. Upon doing that, it didn't work. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to turn the battery disconnect on the machine, turn the ignition switch on, and turn the section controls, the switches on the dash on. And then I'm going to take a digital multimeter and I'm going to measure and see how much voltage I have through all of these solenoids, and see, do I actually have power energizing these solenoids. We might actually do like we did on the RTV. We may build us some jumper leads and we may plug up a jump box to them and actually put 12-volt power direct to them, and see if we can actually make them engage and disengage the solenoid, to see if it's a solenoid problem or is it a machine problem. So let me grab my multimeter. I'll turn the battery disconnect on, turn the ignition switch on, turn all the switches on, and then we'll come back here and I'll move y'all around because we're actually going to be on the back side of the boom set right here in the center, to make it where you can see what I'm doing. So. Okay, so you can see, let's see if I can put these hoses someplace where they're not going to be in my way. So right here are the 3 solenoids. You can't see that. Let me adjust you all. Kind of in a little bit of an awkward place. We're standing in between the boom set. So this is left boom, center boom, right boom section. And these are electronically controlled on-off shut-off solenoids for the product flow through. So this hose coming right here is flow coming in from the pump. It is filtered, and then it comes up and is dispersed out through the valve body block to the appropriate sections. Now these sections are only energized or should only spray product when there is power sent to the solenoid. So these are the weather pack plugs here. They're actually 3-prong plugs. So we're going to test them. They do have a glass fuse in them. We'll actually take these apart and we'll ohm the fuses out and make sure that they're good. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my multimeter and I'm going to plug in the end of these plugs here. And for all my students watching from class, do as Mr. Dover says, not as he does. Because I teach all of my students not to do what I just done. And the reason is when you plug in like that with your test lead off your multimeter, you run the risk of expanding that pin in there to where it will not make contact. And if that happens, then you won't get a good connection and you can have loss of power that way. See if we can find us some ground. Let me do this right here. Let me get me a jumper wire and go direct to ground on the battery. And then I'll know if I'm getting good voltage through here, and I'll also be able to voltage drop this too. All right, so I don't have a set of jumper leads like I have at work here on the service truck. So I did better than that. Took a set of jumper cables that I had in the back of the truck and clipped the negative cable on to the battery. So now we have known good ground. So we should be able to find power relatively easily. Okay. So I have no power coming through the main harness from the machine side to those plugs like there should be. Now I do have some other plugs here. I don't know what they're for, unless they would have been for section control for 5 section because they're in the same harness. Okay. All right, with that in mind, let's go in here and look in the fuse box now. Okay, so probably all you're gonna hear is that stupid buzzer going off. But that's something you're gonna have to deal with. This thing finally a good ground in here. Fuse box. All right, now this is a snap-on test light. This test light actually has a multimeter function in it. And so it works really good for doing this kind of stuff. I'm just going to quickly go down. Stay confused, but I don't have good ground. So. See if I do now. That fuse is dead on one side there. So what I was doing is I'm taking my test light and I'm touching each side of the fuse. So if that fuse is good, it will test and light the light on both sides. This one here, I touched this side and it was lighting the light, and on the other side it's dead. You will never be able to see that. Maybe if you haven't, hey, heck yeah, iPhone 15 for the win. Man, check out that camera right there. So you see right here at the top of this guy where it has burnt the filament in between there. That fuses need to be replaced. That is a blower motor switch fuse. And I figure the blower motor don't work right or draws too many amps, so I got it actually straight wired to the battery, which could be an issue. But remember I said we bought this machine used. And I have come to the conclusion over the years, there's two different kinds of farmers when it comes to equipment repair. One type of farmer, oh, that's another one. Oh yeah, that may be what's wrong with our stuff back there. That's a 5 amper, so we'll have to get one of them out. But back to my rant here. There's two different kinds of farmers when it comes to equipment repair. One kind of farmer meticulously maintains everything they have. Looks like today they brought it home from the dealership 20 years after they've had it. Anything that ever needs to be done is done. Here's why that is dead at the spare, okay? Or you have the other kind. How can I politically correctly say this? They cobble everything together with baling wire, bubble gum, and whatever else they can find. And nothing is fixed right. And you wind up with, and I'm not saying this about the gentleman that we bought this sprayer from, but at some point in time, that is the mindset of the farmer that owned this machine. And so that one's bad too. You get a machine and you're trying to bring it back to life, and oftentimes it don't take just a little bit, and you'll go from being singing a song doing great on a machine to belly up on a machine. Because of somebody cobbling it together too much, and you think, man, that's a good deal, and it really ain't. Alright, let me turn this key off. I'm going to grab us some fuses that we need to put back in here out of the service truck. We'll put fuses in, and then we'll see what problems we either solved, didn't solve, or if they blow the fuse just as soon as we come back. So we needed a 10, a 5, I think that was a 30 I threw down here on the floor. Yep, 30. So we'll see what we come up with. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got some fuses to put back in here. Put them back where are they? Along. Chinese fuse box just broke. It'll be all right. Okay. Lay those down there. Well, that's good. We fixed the rate controller. It's not yelling at me anymore. Last week when I was working on this, it was giving me an audible buzzer too. So, let's do this. Let me jump out. I'm going to turn my multimeter off, take it out of their way, plug all those hose ends back there. And then we'll fire the machine up and see if we can get it. Okay, so I'm fixing to fire the machine up. This machine's fairly loud, so maybe it'll be all right. Good thing it sprays. We just soaked the whole machine. Alright, so we got that issue taken care of. Close the door so we can see here what happens. Alright, here we go again. Okay, so our fuse replacement is actually what took care of our boom selection controls or section controls. They still don't function like they should, but I think actually what it is that the wires are bad on one of them, but it'll work. And like I said, for what we're going to do with it, as long as it'll spray all the way across 60 foot, we'll be all right. And you'll control it with the pump on and off here on the joystick. So I've got one of the water strainers. They've lost the square cut O-ring on it, and they put a round O-ring in it, and it keeps blowing off. So I'm gonna go out here. They give us some stuff with this machine when we bought it, and see if they've got another cut for the bottom of that strainer that has a square cut O-ring in it, and put it on there, and maybe that'll take care of our issue. So that's going to wrap up our repair for right now on the Spra-Coupe for today. That was my goal, was to figure out why the booms wouldn't spray and come on, so we got that done. And it just goes to show you just some basic electrical stuff is all that we had. Just fuses, and it goes right back to what I talked about on the RTV earlier this afternoon. Sometimes it's just the simple stuff is all that's wrong with stuff, and so that's looked up. Seems like both machines, that's what we ran into this afternoon. So I'm gonna go out here, like I said, and see if I can find us a strainer with the correct O-ring in it. If I can't, I'll pick one up in the morning in town, and I might get a wild hair itch tomorrow afternoon if the wind don't kick up a whole lot. Fold these booms in and go out, put a little 2,4-D in the tank, something cheap, and maybe make a couple passes across the field. I kind of want to see what we got, see if it'll run, see what kind of issues we got. I would do one more thing. I need to service the engine. I got brand new oil filters and fuel filters for it, so I'll probably do that before we go out and spray anything, just be sure everything's at the right level. But so far
it seems like all of our hard work that we've put in over the last month or two on this game, things gonna pan out to be all right. So thanks again for joining us on this another section of the Spra-Coupe 3440 repair. Hopefully in the next video you'll get to see it running across the field, putting weed killer out or broadleaf herbicide, so that we'll clean their pastures up, have good green grass for the cows to go out on here in a couple weeks. So thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching E&W Farms.